G'day footy fans and welcome to Boothy's AFL Fantasy Dream Team podcast. Today I'm looking at round 6 changes. Okay, so my team at the moment had a pretty reasonable week with 2,200, but of course a lot of people got in the 2,200 to 2,400, a lot of the good teams. But I did go up by 1,000 ranking points, so I was at nearly 11,000 and now I am at 9,814, so I'm in the top 10,000. That's an advancement anyway, after 5 rounds. Now, the Dream Team leader's on 11,222, averaging 22.45 a week, which is amazing. It's staggering. Whether he can keep that up, we'll see. And in 99th position is 11,009, which is about 200 behind that. And of course, that puts me nearly 500 behind the top 100. So I'm going to have a massive week this week again, really. So defenders, the averages in the yellow there, Adams, Johannesson, Jones, McGrath, Hampton and Newman. The only change there is that Newman comes into Sydney's side averaging 80, which is good. That means Otten goes on the bench. And with potentially Jenkins coming back in for Adelaide as the key forward, and with potentially Talia staying in as a defender, Otten may not get as high points this week against Richmond, who's playing quite well as well. So in the yellow are the averages at the moment for my players on field. My emergency becomes Otten, as I said, and Hibbert's not playing in defence. The players in grey there are the ones who have become dual position players during the week, or they were already dual position players. So Zach Jones is now a defender/mid, Hampton's defender/mid, and Otten as well on the bench is also a defender/forward. So I've got quite a few dual position players in defence. My midfield is my strongest part of my team. Every one of my midfielders is averaging over 100, which is fantastic. So Danger 117. Treloar will become our new captain on the back of a great week last week with 140 odd in the wet. He's averaging 125 now. And Dangerfield, to me, and I've been watching Geelong every game, to me Dangerfield looks like he's running on 80 or 90%. In other words, he's still a great player and can clear the ball, but he's not sprinting as often as he normally does, and I'm wondering if he's got rib damage from that hit the other week. So in other words, he's still playing well, but he's just not sprinting for the ball and diving in like, Selwood's doing at the moment, who's fantastic. So Dangerfield, I question whether he should be a captain at the moment. I think he's a bit sore, but he's still bloody good. So Treloar's my captain for this week. And the averages there for the other guys, you can see Shuey's averaging 118. Gaff's under a bit of a cloud this week, 110. Hopefully he plays. Fife 104. Beams 112. Lloyd 101, who's obviously dual position. And I've brought in Brad Crouch for Pau Pepper. Pau Pepper, to me, might be running out of oomph and only averaging 60 odd. Brad Crouch obviously got 119 in his first game back and is a gun midfielder. So now my midfield looks a lot stronger. Everyone's averaging 101 or more, which is fantastic, but Gaff is under a cloud. My emergency is Balich for Freo, who's back in the side because of Stephen Hill's hamstring. So Balich got 73 last time he played and had a hip injury, whatever. So he's back in as my emergency. So if Gaff doesn't play and I have Balich, hopefully he can score 70 again. But obviously Gaff's fantastic. So in the rucks. Now what I'm doing here is Martin's fantastic 117, probably the form ruckman, particularly when Grundy plays with Cox. Grundy only averages about 90. And last week I think he got 85 because Cox played for the second time. So Martin, I'm happy with that as my number one ruck. And I'm putting Bruce in because Bruce has been named as an emergency for North Melbourne, which is surprising. But Goldstein limped off with an ankle issue last week. So I'm putting Bruce in my ruck because if Goldstein pulls out before the game and Bruce comes in, who's emergency for North, then he averages, or he got 105 last time he played, or when he plays without Goldstein, he's likely to get 100, I reckon. So if that happens. Otherwise, I've got Longer emergency still, who got 70 last week, and he's the only ruckman at St Kilda at the moment. So I'm happy with that. Bruce on the field, Longer emergency in case Bruce doesn't play, because I'm not 100% sure. And the dual position players in grey, as I said, so Dowhouse, Bradley Hill, Steele, all averaging over 88. Dowhouse now 102. Roughhead is out for my team, and in comes Aaron Black, who got 100 last week as a mature age forward for Geelong, who's getting the ball down there a lot, obviously, so Black gets another chance to do well coming into my team. Clay Smith drops down to F5. He got averaging 79, and Hoskin Elliott goes up to F4. He had a bad week in the rain, but he'll get another chance. So basically, Hoskin Elliott's become dual position now, which is fantastic, and the others I already had. So I've got quite a few dual position players, including Hunter in the ruck as well. He's got a little star. Now, the 2 stars I've got are for emergencies, and the 1 star is for dual position. So Butler is my emergency in the forward line. Miles is dual position. Of course, Miles not playing, but Butler is. I'm very lucky this week. I've got Newman coming back in, who was on my bench, and also Balich, who was on my bench. So I had 2 guys coming in who weren't playing last week. off my bench, and of course I've brought in Aaron Black for Roughhead, who's not scoring that well, and Brad Crouch for Pal Pepper. So my side looks like it's better, particularly my midfield's strong. We'll see how we go. My only went up to 12.63 million this week, only up $200,000. Not a huge amount this week, but we'll see how we go. And if you want some advice about cheap players to bring in this week, Vickers Willis in defence is still relatively cheap. Mutimer for West Coast is playing in their 22. He's a 150 midfielder. Don't know a lot about him. But, if you need a midfielder who's cheap, you could have a crack, maybe put him on your bench or emergency. Balich, of course, is still pretty cheap if you don't have him. And Aaron Black, of course, is 185, I think, now on the back of his 100 in the forward line. So there's a few options down there if you need some cheap players. They're players under 200,000. A lot of the other players now are too dear if they've been playing for a few weeks, of course. So good luck, guys. Let me know how you're going. It's great to see more subscribers, 25 now, fantastic, and a lot of views, over 50 each week, fantastic. Sorry there aren't more podcasts, but at the moment it's just really looking at my team and some options and see what you're doing. Just one thing though, try and get rid of one sort of medium price player and a guy who's not playing, to bring in a gun or someone who can potentially score 100, along with someone like one of the ones down the bottom right there that are cheap, because you've really got to improve your on-field team each week if you want to keep scoring well. So obviously I've got Brad Crouch in, who can get 100, of course, and Black, who also got 100 but may not get it every week. And I've taken out Roughhead and Pal Pepper, who are both mid-prices but not really in great form. So try and get someone decent out, in other words, to give you some money, and try and get someone decent in along with a cheap guy that may or may not get a decent score. And avoid the first and second year players as much as you can, because they tend not to be consistent. So Aaron Black's quite mature, and Andy Otten, who's done well, is quite mature. But be careful with first and second year players on lists, because they're not consistent, but sometimes you have no choice. All right, good luck, guys, and let me know how you go. Bye for now.